My facts, unfortunately, don't care about your feelings.
What facts are you bringing up?
The thing you're asking for is already illegal.
Unless you do general checks of everybody.
You call him what?
He's totally tried to leech off of that guy's success.
Oh, cool. Wow. Now listen, you're gonna recoil when I tell you this, but can you let me cook? Okay, we are going to be watching the newest Jubilee video. We're obviously going to be critiquing it and like ripping it to shreds the whole time. On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad are we talking? I haven't seen the video yet, but it's Michael Knowles. However, to make it even more entertaining and to make it worth watching for you, we are going to have Mason, aka One Hand Politics, who is a frequent Jubilee leftist commentator. He's on Jubilee all the time. He's been on it like 3 or 4 times. We're gonna have him on the stream to do the react with us.
Oh, hi chat, I'm Mason. I'm sure that I already got a tiny introduction, but I do activism specifically in LGBTQ nonprofit work. I'm also a regular on the terrible channel Jubilee. I shouldn't be saying that if I want to continue to go on, but this last video has really turned me off to a lot of the ways that they try to get sensationalized clicks. We'll see how this goes. This is definitely the worst video that I've been a part of, but I'm glad to talk about it with somebody else so I'm not just screaming into the void.
Yeah, I do think it's important that we have these conversations and that we counter them and we fight this genocidal ideology. So actually, Mason, let's talk real quick about what was the first Jubilee thing you did.
The first one that really blew up for me was the Charlie Kirk one. And I honestly had no idea that that would be so big because they didn't tell us it was Charlie Kirk. So I thought it's just going to be like some old schmuck who's like, I don't know, wanting to say his shit and then us combating him. And it turns out to be Charlie Kirk as soon as I walk in. I was one of 3 people who knew who he was because it was a bunch of like students. These people aren't very politically engaged. They were just excited to come talk about their views. And literally it was me and then the Parker and Dean, other like TikTok kids. And we were like, yo, this guy is literally one of the right-hand men to Trump. He has spoken at the RNC. Like, you guys have to be ready to like really get in there and brawl. And a lot of the students were just ready to be passionate, not knowing that this guy is notorious for like, I own college students.
Yeah, that is really wild. The lack of like disclosure. That seems very unethical in a weird way.
Yeah, and they pretend like they're making the playing field even because, oh, this poor conservative has to debate 25 people, so we're going to give him like the element of surprise. And it's like, dude, these people are fucking professional propaganda pieces who are ready with talking points that they've been practicing their media training. It's so weird to me the way that they frame it like that, because we don't know any of the prompts going into it. It's just like good luck, and it's just so weird that it's like, okay, I don't think they need all of this coddling when they're professional like orators, you know what I mean?
Okay, let's get into this react.
Totally, man. Let's do it.
Cool.
Oh, it looks like I'll defer to you. Hello, I'm Michael Knowles. I'm a conservative podcast host at The Daily Wire. I'm an author, and I'm a cigar salesman of Mayflower Cigars. And today,
Cigars
surrounded.
They just let him plug his merch and his cigar company too.
They made him do like 4 takes where he didn't have the cigar ad, and I was like, okay, that's good that they're at least like monitoring that. And then they go at the very end in final production with the one where he's plugging his shit. And there's a lot of good quips where we're just like, dude, you only came here to like sell this masculinity. He's fucking doing drag. Like, this guy's like, I'm a cigar salesman. I'm out here. I'm the most masculine person you can be. And I'm like, dude, you're literally doing exactly what you're critiquing, but whatever, it is what it is.
I anticipate a lot of these questions are going to be like this, where it's just like a very real and observable thing that everybody, like, you can just see in the world existing. And then he's like, nuh-uh. Like, the argument is just nuh-uh. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between like straight up fascist reactionaries and like neocons, right? Because a neocon will say like, oh, gay marriage is bad and it's actually harmful. And these people will literally say like, no, it just doesn't exist. Like, it's not happening. The denial of reality is just so telling.
This is going to be such a dumb explanation. I can already tell. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite parts too, where they turn it into a gladiator event and everybody has to like rush up.
So I probably shouldn't be saying this, and this might like get me to not be invited again, but this is all fake. They
Oh,
actually
really?
will have everybody be like, who wants to speak? And then the director will choose somebody. And then they like mime this whole like running to the chair. The only time that it was real was in the pilot one with Charlie Kirk. And so many people like lost nails. They like got
they were like
bruises from
fighting each
pushing
other. I remember that.
Yeah. So since then, it's been all like performative.
So this is when they say like in between this, they're like, so Mason, you want to go up and
Yeah. And they
this
placed
one?
me there because I had been there on all the other like left-leaning surroundeds. And so they're like, oh, the comments love when they see familiar faces. Mind you, these comments do not like seeing the familiar face. I'm getting destroyed in these comments. I think it's just a bunch of Michael Knowles or like Daily Wire people that fucking raided the comment section. But like I come in here guns blazing because I just don't give a shit about Michael. The people who agree with Michael are just fucking not reachable at this moment. So you can only plant seeds or make those people look as stupid as possible. And that was my intent with just like not treating him seriously here.
how do you behave in these scenarios? Because I mean, I think you probably just like shouldn't debate these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're obviously like past that point here, so it's not that useful of a conversation. But if you are in this scenario, you know, like
yeah,
it's
I think
kind
it
of a hard
like really depends on like who the figure is. And my same philosophy, like I think Jubilee platforming these individuals is just doing such a net harm to society at large. Because if anyone comes away with thinking, oh, that guy seemed like he was somewhat reasonable, like that just completely removes some of the progress that we built decades in order to achieve. But I also know that this video is getting aired regardless if I participate or not. I think that Jubilee is doing more of a favor to Michael here than Michael is doing to Jubilee, because nobody knows who the fuck Michael Knowles is unless you're tuned in politically. And I do this stupid little rhetorical game where I call him Mindy the whole time.
You call him what?
So I'm about to like misgender him and call him
okay.
a different name, because I think it's just so telling when they get so triggered when you're not referring to them on who they are. And it's like, okay, dude, that's literally the fucking point that we're trying to make here. And he walks like right into that rhetorical trap of like, actually, my name's Michael. Why can't you fucking respect me? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like no fucking duh. That's exactly what we're asking for.
That's great. That's interesting.
Close. Hey, good to meet you, Mindy.
And so that whole rush to the chair was fake.
Yeah, that was all orchestrated.
Mindy,
you.
nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Yeah. Oh, my name's Mason. But
Mason.
It's good to meet you. Yeah.
I'm Michael.
Oh, gotcha. Wait, do you have a birth certificate?
Not on me, but I do have one.
Okay. Well, I can't confirm that your name's Michael until I see that birth certificate, just as a defender of objective truth. But
Oh.
we can go more into the prompts speaking about marriage.
You could actually, if you have
Oh, yeah?
faculties of reason and you say, well, this is the sort of fellow who presents himself, you know,
Oh,
in a
really?
credible way, and you've probably checked
Gender
with the producers here,
performity.
they've probably verified that I am who I am. So
Yeah.
a reasonable
are you
person
saying
would be
that
able to
gender is
know who
something
I am.
that is more performative characteristics? Is that what you're implying? Is that I'm able, with my faculty of reason, to assume that I'm speaking with a man in front of me? And therefore I can just politely go with the name that you're presenting to me, almost as an act of respect?
Yeah, like I actually really like that you came in with this argument first and didn't even like acknowledge, or you know, we're not even talking about the thing that they're presenting here.
Yeah.
Because I think that is actually how you should deal with it. Like, gay marriage existing is not up for debate. That's not an interesting conversation. Let's actually like deconstruct where you're coming from and like the core of your ideology. I think that's a very good topic, or a very good strat here.
That's like the most prominent issue right now. Like, as much as conservatives will try to like tease it, gay marriage isn't going anywhere. Like, we have the Respect for Marriage Act. Even if the Supreme Court was to overturn a Obergefell, we're going to have a majority of the states that are going to affirm like marriage as an institution. So when she was like, Mason, do you want to talk? My whole mentality here was like, I'm not going to go in and be like, well, actually, science proves like gay marriage is real. It was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Let's talk about trans issues. That's why we're here today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to show like everybody how nonsensical your entire worldview is.
Yeah.
When I say procreation, that's the act of creating the child. And usually there aren't 3 or 4 people involved in that. It's usually 2 people.
Yeah, but even those people that do create the child, oftentimes were referred to as different genders depending on the culture that it is that you're observing.
Which
So I
cultures
recognize
are you referring to?
We could talk about the Mayans. We could talk about certain Amazonian cultures.
Well,
I recommend.
There's like 7 genders in the Torah. Like this
Literally.
goes. This is not. Trans people have always existed. Different genders have always existed outside of just a binary. Like this is what's really frustrating is how ahistorical they get in this too, where they just like insist on this like version of history that is not factual, and you can't like again the facts don't matter. Like they actually don't matter in this conversation. So They can always just like make up lies.
And it goes back to people like Michael who see their audience as so low that they're not going to do the research to actually see if these claims are true. As long as Michael just says, no, actually, like, I don't give a fuck about that. That's not real. They're just going to take that and be like, okay, sure. Like he sees his audience as just so fucking dumb.
Right.
They're not Western culture, so you might not prioritize them, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist.
What was their? Well, they no longer exist, the Mayans.
Oh,
but,
right.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah, colonialism, sick.
Okay, I'm trying to drill down to see, when you say there are different understandings of marriage throughout history and time and space. I say, okay, maybe that's possible. How? Tell
Maybe
me
it's
the examples.
possible.
And you said, well, the Mayans.
All of the
And I said,
historical
okay, what did
evidence,
the
fuck all that.
Yeah, we can't know for sure. You know?
Exactly.
Scholars lost the translations a long time ago.
I won't
Honestly,
outright
about
say it doesn't exist, but it just doesn't matter to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
People can look up right now. If you're right near a Google, yeah, exactly. Michael's trying to hone me down on trivia night right now.
No, I'm just
right
asking
now,
you to
what we're trying
explain.
to talk about specifically are examples.
I'm
of
asking
what's
you
happening.
I'm asking you to explain.
That's good. He gets frustrated when everybody laughs at him.
He definitely is one of the more emotional conservative commentators, which is really funny that he presents himself as the masculine cigar salesman.
I bet he wishes so bad he could grow like a Matt Walsh beard.
Yeah, 100%. He's totally tried to leech off of that guy's success because, like, everyone on the Daily Wire has their little shtick. Like, Candace has always been the I can talk shit about people of color because, like, I'm one of the good ones.
Right.
Ben Shapiro's always been like the Israel defender / like I can intellectualize conservative talking points. And then Matt Walsh has gotten all the success with being like the what is a woman guy. Michael never really had his fucking shtick. He was always kind of like the anti-climate guy for a couple years. And now he's like,
Shit, that's not getting me any cred. I have to turn into the transgenderism needs to be eradicated.
dude.
What's so weird, specifically when conservatives claim to be big, strong men, cigar salesmen that are out there presenting this certain image. It's weird how you're focusing more on gay people than oftentimes gay people focus on gay people.
I'm not focusing on anything. I'm not the one who changed the definition of
You
marriage.
came in here
She said.
making the claim, hey, all of these marriages.
But she's still holding up the flag. What's up with that?
Yeah, once you put up the flag, they don't let you put it down. And
Oh,
they'll
okay.
call you out
Okay.
personally. Yeah.
They'll
It's hard to,
call
like,
you out.
monitor.
They'll stop the convo and say, hey.
No, but they'll like make the eye contact with you, and they got a big old crane behind them that gets those like big wide shots, and the people on the ladder will be like pointing at you to be like, raise your fucking flag. It's like it's very strict the way
That's
it's all set up.
very interesting.
This is the issue. I love my buddy, right? I love my Aunt Gertrude. I love my cousins. But
Yeah,
I'm not
just
married.
pause the video there. That should have been a clip, honestly. I'm kind of mad I didn't get that.
My buddy,
I love my Aunt
I have-
Gertrude.
my Aunt Gertrude. Yeah. He's like, but I'm not going to fuck him. And
Yeah.
that is actually the point that he's saying.
many people have slept with people who are not their spouses. That doesn't mean they're married to them.
Good to meet you, Mindy.
Good to meet you. What was his name? I didn't catch it. My next claim is that transgenderism
Yeah,
should
just
be eradicated
absolute
from public
Nazi
life
claims.
entirely.
Yeah, no, this is genocidal. I mean, this is
Yeah.
genuinely like a genocidal thing. You not only want to erase the people, but also like the culture. And you're openly like advocating for it.
Yeah, his whole thing is he's trying to rile up that emotional response, and then it's the, oh, of course you're gonna say I'm a Nazi, just like all the left does. Like, how can you be so crazy with your accusations? You're degrading what that word means. I don't want to kill trans people. I just want to make sure that they feel shunned from society and out of basic life, and that we recognize that they're a threat to cis women, and that people should be aware that these people are predatory and groomers. But like, I'm not trying to kill them or cause violence to them. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
This is inciting violence.
Yeah.
Like directly inciting violence and should be treated as such. This is not something you debate. This is something you fight against.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I think like fear of incarceration is the only thing that stopped a lot of us from fucking tackling that guy across from us.
Yeah, I mean it's wild. I'm interested to hear how like some of the trans activists who are out here handle this.
Hi.
Hello.
Blossom. She, her, hers powerhouse.
Blossom Powerhouse, lovely to meet you.
Yes. Go ahead. I want to know your ideology around transgenderism, something that doesn't exist. It just sounds more like conservative propaganda. So I kind of want to know a little bit more about what you're trying to communicate.
Okay, I think
Yeah, I think this is actually a great way to go about it too. Like, you should don't have me come up and start this convo. No. This is your prompt. You want to defend it? Let me hear you defend it. Let me hear your reasoning behind it. Like, this is great. Don't step into their trap and come and try to fight against this bullshit, make him defend that and make him like explain why it's the truth. This is a great job by her.
Yeah, I don't know how much Jubilee you've watched, but Blossom's been on a lot of different like trans specific topics. Jubilee, there was one where it was her against Blair White with like conservative trans people versus liberal trans people. And I think she does a really great job of just not even playing into the game. And so many people who are like the centrists or coming for good spirited debate hate Blossom because she doesn't engage on that level. And I think that that's actually more productive in a way, because her goal here isn't to coddle conservatives or try to change conservatives' minds. It's to be like the feeling of trans people who are going through this bullshit each and every day and show conservatives that like they don't give a fuck about like what their beliefs are or what they're saying to them. Because she doesn't engage in like a civil dialogue. And I think that's good in this instance. She's going to like just fucking punch back. Like that's what's needed.
Yeah, this shouldn't be this shouldn't be up for debate. Trans people exist. You know, trans joy exists,
and they're not going anywhere.
It has existed. It always will exist. It's just a question of like how many, how much we are protecting them in our society. Like that is actually what we're talking about. And you are here advocating for them to not be protected at all, or for them to be attacked and actually explicitly eradicated. Your words, like no excuse.
Yeah, and like if any of us said Christianity should be eradicated, this guy's fucking in the corner crying about how evil and genocidal we are. And it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
true.
I hate that hypocrisy.
And I see in the transgender ideology a kind of Gnosticism that says that you could look like a man, you could have a man's genetics, you could have a man's genitals, you could have a man's everything.
Because I've had enough of this dude.
Okay, but again, according to your own definition, what they look like doesn't matter. Yeah. What their chromosomes are doesn't matter. Like this isn't our definition. This is your definition. There are people who look like they pass 100% to every single person they know as a woman or a man, and they're trans. There are people who, who have sex change operations, who don't have the sexual reproductive organs that you're defining them on. Like every single thing that is based on your definition is not how this actually operates in the real world. Like once again, you are not debating the real world. Like this is not a topic that is based in reality. This is based in your genocidal desires and your wish casting.
Yeah, and like the whole path that he's walking down of this Gnosticism is like early Christian tradition, which just shows again the Christian nationalism of like, my worldview is what needs to be enforced in everyday life. And this is like just so counter to the Enlightenment. And as much as I am not in agreeance of the origins of the United States, like it's antithetical to the ideals that this country was built on, which is like freedom of religion and freedom of lack thereof. Like we are supposed to determine our own destiny, and him trying to enforce a rigid Christian worldview is like, dude, you don't have to be trans if that's what you view as like wrong, but you can't deny other people from being able to live that experience.
Of course. And that's why they have to go to these like extreme, like way out, like they have to be like, oh, actually we're going to make up this like perception of like trans people as dangerous in bathrooms, even though, sexual assault already illegal, really poorly enforced by our police, but we're not going to address that, of course. We don't really care about sexual assault, like let's be real. Or sports, like they have to like find these like very niche and like small examples to even like hypothesize a scenario in which trans people are affecting anyone else, like that people being trans has any effect on anybody else. They have to go to these wild lengths and bring out these like specific examples that genuinely actually don't affect very many people. There's very little actual observable harm that it exists, and if it does exist, even if we find the one example of like that happening, it's already illegal.
Yeah.
The thing you're asking for is already illegal. All of it is just so frustrating. And again, why you really shouldn't even entertain these debates in so many ways. Like this, just they're denying reality. And by even acknowledging it and participating in that conversation, you are once again denying reality. Like you are accepting their manufactured reality that is not that.
Or you're setting these up as like equal ideologies, and it's like, let's try to come to like what the middle ground is here. And there's no fucking middle ground between, hey, I exist versus you shouldn't. Like it's stupid. And as bad as it is right now with the stigmatization of trans people, there will be a day where like it's not an issue anymore, or people will be shunned to the same degree that other social issues are shunned right now. Like for most of you out there, you probably wouldn't be friends with somebody who's an open segregationist. And like that kind of just shows that putting boundaries against people who have shitty social beliefs is something that is necessary, because that shame does work.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. Like, are there any conversations like outside of the filming that you've had with like the producers where, you know, like after this wrapped, you know, what was it like? Like
Alexis, I think she goes by Lex. She has the red hair and tattoos. I don't think we've seen her debate yet, but I've been talking with her a lot. And I remember at the very beginning of the filming, they have all of us in the circle. They didn't tell us that it was Michael Knowles. I knew that it was going to be a Daily Wire person. I honestly thought it was going to be Matt Walsh, but they didn't tell us anything. So he just walks in. But before that, Alexis asked, is there going to be like hate speech? How is that monitored? Like, are you guys going to stop when they're saying things that are outright incendiary? And the director kind of was like awkwardly trying to like dodge the question. And then she kept pressing her on that. And the director was like, so this guy's going to say some of the most extreme things you've ever said. He's a terrible person. This is probably like one of the most controversial people we've had on, but you guys as a group are going to like team up to like take him down. And it was like this weird, like, this is not a fucking sport. Like, this is not something that should be seen as like a benign activity. Like, if this person's outright having genocidal language and y'all are expecting us to like treat him with civility, like that is absolutely disgusting. So I think that Jubilee knows what they're doing. I think this whole segment or this whole like video category is just rage bait at the end of the day. They want to get conservatives who are like, look at these fucking crazy LGBTQ people sharing it to their friends. And they want liberals being like, how the fuck could they say something like this on like a web show? I'm going to send it to all my friends. Like, they know the virality is there. And I just think it's crazy that they're putting the profit over human experience.
Yeah, right. No,
because their whole mission used to be like, we want to try to find empathy. And like, that's what middle ground was designed for. Like, let's try to understand each other's perspectives. This is not a fucking perspective when you have a guy like Michael being like, trans people just don't exist. And even if they do exist, we should do everything in our power to make sure that they don't in the future. I think we're like a couple months away from like segregationists versus people who are egalitarians. And it's like,
I mean, we've already had that. It was pro-Palestine versus pro-Israel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm here in front of you right now talking to you.
You're confused about your identity.
No, you are confused.
I'm not
at the fact that you don't really have any talking points right now. Put me on your show. How about that?
Then it would become your show,
that?
I think.
Oh, yeah, I should have a show. I should have a show.
In 2018, there were 2 rapes in bathrooms, and one in Wisconsin, one in Georgia.
From men,
also because of the transgender identity.
But say it, cis men. This is the example that you run to. Past that, you have nothing.
I've just given you 3 examples.
Nothing.
I've given you 3 examples in recent years.
You don't. You've been struggling this entire time.
News to me, have I?
These examples from 2018 of a few individuals, like that doesn't justify the claim at all, though.
Yeah, this instance removes like y'all's ability to have equal protection under the law, and it's just like.
But it's also like if that's the metric that you hold to, like whether we eradicate a group of people or not. Like, I hate to tell you, cis men are not here we're not going to be here for very long. The prevalence of sexual assault and rape in our community is much, much wider than it is in the trans community. It's not even really close.
Or the instances of cis women committing sexual assault. Now we have to eradicate women. It's like, it's a stupid belief and like an outlier in a social class. Or even if it's not an outlier, even if it's a majority, like that doesn't warrant removing people's rights. Like Catholic priests, we shouldn't take away Catholic priests' right to practice their religion just because a majority of them are fucking sexual perverts.
That's actually a much better example too, because there was so much institutional backing to that too. Like, it actually was bad individuals, but was supported and defended by the bigger power structures that represent them, you know? Like, it was an 100%. Endemic problem of the whole entire thing.
Yeah, you have.
I think the trans lady doth protest too much, methinks. Perhaps I'll see you on my show.
Yes, invite me. Yeah. Get my email. Tell your people to get my email address. How about that?
Blossom also just went on Piers Morgan this morning, and they brought fucking Riley Gaines on with Blossom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was fucking disgusting.
Imagine,
Pierce is just such
imagine
a piece
tying
of shit.
for 5th in a race and making it your entire personality.
Yeah. Literally.
Okay, well, Mason, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate this convo. It was very, very, very fun for me and very insightful. I think you're a good mind. I'm really excited that you're on Twitch, and we'll give you another shout out. Chat, please, everybody go follow Mason and tune in to Mason streams.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, chat. Thanks for listening to me yap to an open fascist. Something that I don't recommend doing, but I chose to do it in the moment, and luckily he came out looking like a clown. I don't think that this is a net good to society, but I do think it's good to tell these people to their face that they're fucking idiots. So
True.
glad I got the chance to do that.
Okay, well, take care. I'm gonna go play some Yakuza. The Yakuza game just came out. So
Good talking with you, man. Have a great night.